Hey everyone, welcome to Primo Reef Acrylics. Yet again another video on, this time, my custom 7 or 8 gallon frag tank. Yep, you heard that right, very small. It's about 28 inches in length, I believe it's 12 inches in width, and about 6 inches high. Nothing too big, you know, this is just to start off my experience in my reef tanks for my future. I'm thinking about building another tank, so I'm just buying corals and letting them grow out up until Boxing Day was here, so I kind of went out and bought some corals. Yeah, so for my future tank, I am going to grow out as much as corals as I can. I want to keep it an SPS dominant tank, so I do have about 4, 5, 6, 7 SPS corals. I have 2 bubble anemones. I have a finger leather coral there, and a couple of mushrooms just for the heck of it. Mushrooms, started off with the mushrooms just to get the water cycling properly. I actually used one of my buddy's tank for cycling. Not even cycle, I just pretty much started my tank within one day. He was doing a water change, and I took some of his water. It's about 8 gallons, so it wasn't much, 2 buckets, and it was good to go. And popped the buckets in, and I was let the temperature rise back to where it should be, and that's it. Start off. So some of you guys who want to start off a reef tank, you know what? Call your buddies out. Or call out somebody on the internet or forums or somebody that can probably give you some water when you do a new reef tank, because it's a great way to cycle a system. If you grab water from somebody that already has a reef tank, there's no better cycling than that. I went through a whole bunch of phases of putting shrimps in my tank and putting protein skimmer nonsense in there, and believe me, that phase, it just takes way too long. Nevertheless, every tank, it will go through its own different cycle stages. But putting in somebody else's water change, just, well, before I get to that, make sure that person's tank is really nice and it's up to date. The way you would test somebody else's water quality is take a white bucket, put their water inside, and see if it's yellow. If it's yellow, you really don't want it. Find somebody that has really clean, crystal clean water. The gentleman that I got my water off, his water looked like RODI water. His system, it's up to par. I will post a video on that. I'm sure you guys seen the video actually. It's the frag tank that I made recently, a couple of videos back. His display tank, he had one of the cleanest tanks there is, and his water quality was up to par. It was really nice. So going in further, the way this tank was set up is I have a thermometer, temperature heater at the back. Small hydrocoryllia pump, nothing too much, just to create flows in crisscross manner. I have a temperature gauge, the floating type, so that sits there. On the far left-hand side back wall, I have a small overflow. There is a MaxiJet pump that is inside of it. I'm not sure if you guys can see properly, but there's a small MaxiJet 1200 that's running back there. I drilled a hole right in the front. It's, whoops, right there. If you can see it. Just lighting. Okay, anyways, there's a hole at the back, so what the way it hits is the water will start here, shoot this way. This hydrocoryllia pump will shoot it crisscross this way, so it's a full circulation mode. This prevents anything from sitting on the floor or even dead spots within the tank. The only dead spot that I have in the tank, somewhat, is the bubble tip anemone area. I didn't want there to be too much flow. The bubble tip anemone just looks kind of weird today because I did a small water change and I added the rose bubble tip, the red one, yesterday. So he's still kind of shooting all over the tank to find its spot where he wants to go, or she wants to go, or it wants to go. The green one there, again, it was happy at a place in the middle back where there was a decent amount of flow. And when the rose bubble tip went there, it shot itself all over the tank again, and they were both like on a running spree. And they finally both decided to settle here. I don't know what caused that. But even these SPS corals, the small little frags that I have, I bought them today. Acclimated them for about an hour and a half. This temperature and everything. And they're finally opening up now. So pretty happy about that. Small, tiny little frags. What are they, about 1 inch? Nothing too big. Again, if you can ace having a frag tank, buy them as tiny as possible and let them grow to be big as frags ever. I'm gonna try to run off my future tank a full SPS dominant tank. Just for the heck of it, I was given this coral. It's a green leather coral, so green finger leather coral. It's pretty nice. That one there, again, is closed up. He's been closed up for about a week now. I don't know why. It's I tried different positions of lighting. Some days it's big and the polyps come out, and then it was actually shedding. So when you take bi-leather corals like this, they'll go through a phase of new water quality, and they'll kind of shed their skins and slime comes out of it. When that slime comes out, just make sure it doesn't hit any SPS corals. So you just want to get rid of that. So there's one there. There's another one there, which is, I don't know what's been happening. It was happy the first day I put it inside for a week, and then now, I don't know, it's kind of shrinking up again. And then a couple mushrooms on this side. You know, mushrooms live forever, no matter what temperature you put them in. And that's about it for now. What I'm powering up the lighting with are Primo Reef Acrylics, 54 watts, par 38 lights. 54 watts, some of you guys are probably thinking that's an overkill for this tank. It might be, might not be. I had one on the tank, it was really good. But because I have SPS now, when I had one, I had to put SPS directly in the center of the aquarium. Excuse me. I had to put the SPS directly center of the aquarium. And because of the height of this is about 20 inches. So when it was in the center, it was happy. And then when I moved it towards the side, it wasn't so happy. When my rose bubble tip was kind of going all over the place. So I find the polyps never opened up as much. But this method here, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to create crisscrosses. So they're about 20 inches high above the water surface. Remember, that tank is a 6-inch height on that, so it's not much at all. So I have one crisscrossing that way, and then I have another one going that way. Hopefully, with this method here, the SPS corals itself, they will not bleach from one side, because that's a common issue and a common problem with LED lighting. Is when you have an aquascape done and you have the LED lights right on top, you'll find that the top portion grows really well, but the sides start bleaching out. So if you can see there, this was my SPS, which I had for about a month, and it started bleaching out for that part where there's no lighting that's hitting it. So now that I have a light that's on top and one coming in from the right hand side, it should be helping that itself. The par 38 54 watts are actually, I have custom goosenecks, which an on and off switch right on top, so you can actually flick it off and on as you please. These are way more thicker rods. The gooseneck itself, it's way more thicker. It's a black coating instead of the aluminum profile where it could possibly create rust on it. This one has a really nice rubber or PVC type of fitting that's kind of like almost like a heat sink, which is stretched onto it and then heat sinked into place. The base there, if you can see it properly, the base there is that support will hold up to a 3/4 inch glass. So that's really good to have. In my new reef tank, I'm probably going to hit 2 or 3 of these lights. It's not much. I'm probably going to go about 75, 80 gallons. Going to have more of a shallow tank than a height purpose of it. It's just because I like the shallow concept with a little bit more depth on it. So these lights are available on my website, which is primoreefacrylics.com. 54 watts, par 38. You can check that out. And I also have the little sister cousin to this one, which is the refugium light, which is also, I'll talk about that in another video because that's more into detail. But 54 watts, par 38 with the goosenecks. You can find the pricing on my website. And hopefully for the new year, I'm going to have the website launch right at the new year or a day or two after. And that should generate more sales and more specials. The more sales equal better discounts for you guys. So hopefully that does help. Alright, so that's my tour of my small frag tank, which is a grow out. Just to mind a couple snails. I've kept about four snails inside just to clean up the detritus off the floor. And that's it, and 2 clownfish. Hopefully these clownfishes will house in the anemone, because that is one of the most disappointing parts that us reefers go through. You buy a frag tank or any reef tank, you buy an anemone, looks great, then you buy clownfishes and they don't go inside. That's the biggest heartbreak I've ever had in my life. It's really, really disappointing. For those of you who have reef tanks, you guys know what I'm talking about. Alright guys, so for my next video, I guess stay tuned for the refugium light, which is a par 15 watt. And that's it. Thank you for watching Primo Reef Acrylics. And this is the tour of my 8-gallon frag tank.